If you are like me, when you discovered Fallout 4's excellent Bar Harbor DLC featured a submarine pen complete with a derelict U.S. ballistic submarine, you couldn't wait to explore it. Expectations high, excitement building, each step more thrilling than the last. You make your way across Mount Desert Island, and in the distance, the naval facility you've long sought appears over the horizon. Using your wit, your arsenal, or your charm, you find a way to convince the children of Adam to let you into the heart of their fold, the nucleus, to finally lay eyes on a true Fallout-style U.S. military submarine. Your thoughts naturally wandering to how the Democracy's design will contrast with the distinct aesthetics of the Yanksa. Creeping down the entry hall, anticipation reaches its zenith, and then reality washes over you like a cruel cascade of disappointment. For in front of you is nothing more than a fun-sized Yanksa. Just another in a long line of asset flips in pursuit of the almighty dollar that you've seen far, far, far too many times in your generation. Fear not, my friends, you are not alone. For I am here to help you deny that cruel reality and fix what is undeniably broken. To that end, I have prepared a theory that just might restore your faith in democracy. Deep beneath the mighty swells of the Pacific lurks the Yushui, a fast-attack ballistic submarine of the glorious Chinese Navy. She is on her third combat patrol here, a few hundred clicks removed from the capitalist pig's bastion in the Pacific, Hawaii Island. Unbeknownst to the Yushui's crew, there is a leak forming in the seal of Silo number 3, which descends deep into the bowels of her pressure hold. Briny water slowly but surely begins to fill the compartment, drip by drip, bringing the Yushui ever closer to disaster. Eventually, and perhaps inevitably, the Fathoms would come into contact with the missile propellant residue lingering within the compartment, resulting in a spontaneous fire culminating in the detonation of Missile Number 3's booster, cracking her hull ajar, splitting her warhead asunder, flooding her corridors with radiation-infused froth. The Yushui would sink to the ocean floor with all souls lost before even a single, final, desperate communication could be sent. It was thus that the command of the People's Liberation Army Navy was left blissfully unaware of the Yushui's fate. It was not until mid-March, when she had missed not one, but 2 consecutive scheduled radio check-ins, that the Admiralty became concerned. The Yushui was ordered via fleet broadcast to break radio silence immediately and report to headquarters. As this call went unheeded, urgent and direct communications were attempted, all of which would go unanswered, instigating the Chinese fleet to begin searching for the vessel. By air, surface, and below, the Armada would scour the northern Pacific tirelessly, but in the end would fail to find even a trace of the Yushui and would return to normal operations. United States Pacific Fleet Command intelligence would take notice of the change in Chinese fleet deployment and correctly deduce the aberration from normal deployment was likely a reaction to the loss of a submarine. Taking advantage of the state's highly robust underwater acoustic network, analysts would identify a significant signal consistent with a small explosion occurring from within a pressure hull, a signal that was then successfully triangulated to provide an approximate probable location of the Chinese wreck. The location identified was hundreds of miles away from the locus of the Chinese flotilla's search zone. Following the termination of search operations by the Liberation Army Navy, the United States dispatched the USS Dogfish to survey the potential site of the wreck in August of 2068. Consequently, the Dogfish positively identified the Yushui resting on the sea floor and began analysis of the remains. Utilizing robotic submersibles, the Yushui was deemed to be largely intact and critically, potentially salvageable. Given the singular opportunity the wreck presented to recover a Chinese nuclear submarine, complete with her remaining complement of nuclear missiles, without the knowledge of the Chinese, the then President of the United States, whose name has been lost to time, quickly authorized a salvage attempt. This proved to be the genesis of Project Kazan, a CIA-led black op to retrieve the Yushui. In order to maintain secrecy, the agency financed the construction of the House Koffinite Explorer, a vessel whose sole purpose was the clandestine recovery of the Yushui, through American business magnate Richard House as a proxy. The Koffinite Explorer was launched in 2074 and dispatched to the wreck site as soon as she could be crewed and stocked with specially modified suits of T-51B for use at depth. On arrival, the Explorer began drilling operations. The T-51 clad operatives dove into the surf from the moon pool contained within the Explorer's hull, a massive mechanical claw descending alongside them soon thereafter. Gradually, the divers descended into the fathoms below until their ghostly plunge terminated among the detritus littering the seabed. Once there, they set to their task, securing ballast to the Yushui's hull to reduce the burden on the lifting mechanism, in addition to securing the limbs of the massive claw that descended from the Koffinite Explorer. Upon completing their work, the divers were retrieved from the gloom, wenches straining to lift their considerable heft back through the moon pool. Once the recovery of the divers was finalized, the slow and arduous process of lifting the Yushui towards the surface commenced in earnest. Over a period of a week, the heavy steel pipe umbilical connecting the claw and her precious cargo to the surface inched closer and closer to the portal above, section after section of pipe painstakingly being removed, until finally, on the 9th day of operation, the Yushui broke the calm blue surface of the moon pool. Hereupon, the moon pool began to wane, and soon her doors completed the eclipse, securing the Yushui with her new owners and captors. Her mission completed, the Koffinite Explorer traversed the Panama Canal en route to the east coast of the United States to deliver her precious cargo to the isolated Mount Desert Island Naval Facility, which by no accident contained but a single dry dock. Upon arrival, naval intelligence officers and engineers eagerly scrutinized every inch of the Yushui's hull, stripping away every morsel of intel that could prove beneficial to the war effort, including communication codecs, nuclear-tipped torpedoes, and the 3 surviving nuclear ballistic missiles. In the year 2075, following a comprehensive study of her design specifications, the Yushui was released by the Engineering Corps to the Admiralty's discretion. Admiral Edward Graff saw an opportunity here, inspired by the old Greek tale of the Trojan horse, to use the Yushui to prey upon Chinese operations in the South China Sea, and ordered the retrofitting of the Yushui back into a mission-capable vessel. Consequently, in 2077, the newly christened USS Democracy was on the precipice of being deployed under the command of Captain Wabash when a mysterious reactor leak occurred, delaying her deployment. The rest, as they say, is history. And that, my friends, concludes my new headcanon for the USS Democracy. Is it perfect? No. Does it have some plot holes? Absolutely. But is it significantly better than what we got from Bethesda? Well, I'll let you tell me. Also, if you recognize the true story my theory is predicated upon, comment down below for those sweet, sweet style points and my undying respect.